What a weird couple of weeks. Donald Trump is going to become the president of America again. Linkin Park just released a new album. And Netflix paid at least 60 million to shoot themselves in the face. Wow. There is one thing I'm happy about in this whole circus. And that's that Mike Tyson got to do it. If somebody's in their right mind and they are healthy, at least they can, do what they need to do to get by degree, and, they're not putting anybody else in danger, then, well, who the fuck am I? Who are you? Who is anyone to tell someone like Mike Tyson, you're too old, you can't do it? No. I know not everyone's going to agree with that, but that's just how I feel, and that was probably the most positive thing I can say about the entire circus. Now, when I say Netflix shot themselves in the face, I really mean it. I was watching a stream chat as I was watching the fight simultaneously, and all I saw time and again was people saying they couldn't see. They couldn't see. It was buffering. Basically, Netflix had just stopped working completely. I was lucky. I was one of the lucky ones. And, so lucky if you want to call it that. I could see the fight. Not very well. The quality, I think, dropped to what must have been 30-60p, kind of like early days of YouTube quality. But I could see what was going on just about, and I could see just enough to know that it was sad. It was really sad. I mean, when I was growing up, my granddad was a massive Mike Tyson fan. He loved Mike Tyson. And I saw so many of Mike Tyson's early fights. And one VHS in particular, I must have watched it, oh God, 100 times maybe as a child. And I can still recall perfectly a lot of Mike Tyson's early knockouts from that video. But that last night, that wasn't Mike Tyson. There was a moment late in the fight where, again, through very bad quality, but I could see enough, Mike Tyson was sat on his stool. I think it was at the end of round 7. And I remember just seeing him, and in that moment, I got a look of, why am I doing this? But moreover than that, that look of why am I doing this was very similar to the look he had at the end of the fight in 2005 when he was sat on the floor looking depressed. And he knew it was over. But the difference this time was, it felt like this was Mike Tyson going, oh my God, I'm old. Because not only now was he not up for it anymore, but his body couldn't even get close to it anymore. I mean, a lot of people, I think, fooled themselves into believing that Mike Tyson, because they'd seen some fun training videos, was going to be quick, nimble, powerful. In reality, I felt like I could almost see the loading bar going by every time Mike Tyson tried to do something. He was so slow, and it was so sad. He would go to do one of his patented weaves, and by the time he started to move, it was already too late. One thing I noticed in the fight was that, at the start, Jake Paul was taking Mike Tyson seriously. And I know he was taking him seriously, because when Jake Paul is scared of his opponents, he grabs. He grabs a lot. And that's what he did. But if you notice, after sort of the end of round 1, and then it was either in round 2 or by the end of round 2, Jake Paul basically just put his hands down. And was just put. But he wasn't throwing hard punches. Don't let anybody fool you, and don't let any... If you didn't see the fight, don't let anybody lie to you. Jake Paul could have knocked Mike Tyson out. 100% could have knocked Mike Tyson out. And that is so fucking sad to say. But at the same time, what were we expecting? The biggest losers on this night are Netflix. Netflix paid at least 60 million to stream elder abuse out to the world. And they did it in awful quality. Hey, I mean, it's an interesting business tactic. I don't know if it's going to work. A lot of people will have signed up to Netflix with the idea of, I'm going to sign up, I'm going to watch the Tyson fight, and then I'm going to, quit. Now, the thing that might save Netflix, and I don't know, I'm not a fucking lawyer, but the thing that might save Netflix is they didn't charge pay-per-view. I live in the UK, where, I don't know what it's like in other parts of the world, but in the UK, we have Sky. Our main premium TV service is Sky. And if you wanted to watch a box office event, a other event, you would have to pay extra. Now, it was only 20 quid, or 15 quid it used to be, but that might sound like a deal to some people in some parts of the world, but when you realize how much the monthly TV deal was with Sky, it's not a deal, trust me. But that's the only thing I think might save Netflix, because they basically can turn around and say, well, people are still getting the Netflix subscription. We haven't negged on that whatsoever. It's just that this one thing didn't go very well. But at the same time, I don't see how they can reasonably convince anyone that people weren't just signing up for the fight. I don't know how that works out. I don't know how that would shake out, but I have a horrible feeling for Netflix that they might have lost their ass on this. And it's going to be really interesting, because I guarantee there was a lot of signups, but this might have done more long-term damage to their reputation than a few one-month signups are ever going to do. And if they end up having to refund people, then there's a real good chance that this entire thing was a disaster for Netflix. Be interesting to see what transpires with this now. A lot of people are not happy. This whole freak show that we've had over the last several years, it's been fun. It's been a good time. We've all had a giggle. We've had influencer boxing, and we've had weird bouts like Logan Paul against Mayweather, for what that was worth. But come on. If Mike Tyson can't wind back the years to fight, nobody can. And Jake Paul, it's time. Either get into the professional ranks or give it up. But this is over. Because where did he go from here? The only reason Jake Paul even took this fight was because after he got beat by Tommy Fury, people had seen him lose. Nobody cared anymore. And the only thing he could do to cling to relevance was keep spouting Mike Tyson's name. And it worked. Sort of. I mean, I bet a lot of you don't even know that he had a fight in summer, Jake Paul. That was meant to be the original date for this fight with Tyson, but most people don't even know what happened. The last thing that was keeping Jake Paul relevant in this sort of weird boxing alternate sphere we've had was this Mike Tyson fight. And now what's he got? I mean, what's he going to do now? Call out Muhammad Ali? It's over. Either he needs to now shut the fuck up and get into the professional ranks and actually try to become a proper boxer, or it's over. But I don't think there should be any more of this now. Because we've seen it. It's not because I want to tell any of the people who might get involved that they shouldn't do it. I feel just like I felt about Tyson with any of them. But we've seen it. We've seen what happens when a 27-year-old and a 57-year-old legend meet. We know what happens. We've seen what happens when an MMA fighter and a boxer meet. Or when a basketball player and a YouTuber who's got a very little bit of boxing experience meet. We've had all these questions answered now. Let's do it again in 50 years. Or 100 years. You know, when we're all long gone, thank God. You know, let's let other generations deal with that question now, or those questions now. We've answered them. We don't need the questions answering anymore. So, Mike Tyson, enjoy your retirement. Take your 20 million, or whatever it was that you got, and be happy with that. Go back to smoking weed and being really awkward on a podcast. And look, don't try to get back in the ring at 60. Please.